Now, illicit liquor continues to be a menace that several counties are dealing with. And as a country reels from the death of 8 people due to illicit brew in Nakuru County, a man died after consuming illicit brew in Kiambu County. Our reporter Emmanuel Haimba will give us more details to the story. This is Friday. My name is Karen Karimi. Our guest tonight is a fashion stylist, image consultant, corporate trainer and fashion lecturer working both in Kenya and internationally. Connie Alwat is her name. So nice to have you tonight, Connie.
Thanks for having me, Karen. I'm so excited to be here at TV47.
Amazing. Now, what according to you is a favorite part of being a fashion stylist?
God, there's so many aspects to it, but I think the most important is the collaboration, working with other industry players, the hairstylists, the makeup artists, the designers, the photographers. So I think it's the collaboration that's the first most important thing about being a stylist, collaboration. Yeah.
And who are your favorite, by the way, Kenyan designers? Do you have any?
I have so many, like, oh my God, I have Deepa Dosaja, I have Organato, I have Icon, I have Tunu. It's endless.
Yeah?
It's endless, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure that you catch that discussion, of course, later at 9:30 p.m. between Connie and I. Any questions you have, you can tweet us at K24TV. Your Twitter handle, Connie?
It's at Connie Alwat.
Connie Alwat.
Yes.
Perfect. And what did I say? Did I say something wrong? I think I did. I did. I'm really sorry. Our Twitter handle is at TV47. I think I just bleeped there. In the headlines tonight.
Tonight, no reprieve in sight on cost of living.
The price of unga, Mr. Speaker, I don't think will also come down immediately because unless government is willing and ready to continue with the subsidy to bring down the cost of unga.
As government insists, there will be no immediate intervention to reduce the price of unga.
We want a long-term solution. We don't want a quick fix. Trying to subsidize consumption is foolish. It's not sustainable.
This has Kenyans calling the government to keep their promise to millions of hustlers.
Kwa Kenya tunaumia, tuna struggle, kuweka chakula kwa meza imekuwa kazi ngumu jamani.
Also tonight, autopsy reveal Kiambu businessman George Mwangi died as a result of blunt object impact.
Daktari amefanya utafiti wake na amesema Mwangi aligongwa kutoka nyuma na chuma ama na kitu brand na amegongwa mara kadhaa.
This as his wife Gladys Chania, who is the main suspect, is set to reappear in court Monday, with police likely to prefer murder charges. Plus, we unpack the sad phenomenon of increasing poverty.
Maisha sasa hii ni ngumu sana. Kusema kweli, ukienda na 200 urudi na kitu.
As Kenya joins the world in marking International Day for the Eradication of Poverty.
This is TV47 and you're watching Friday with me, Karen Karimi. Now, to our top story, the government has given the latest indication yet that you and I will bear the burden of the cost of living for longer. Both Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua and the Agriculture Cabinet nominee Mithika Lituri saying the cost of unga and other day-to-day commodities will not come down anytime soon. Flora Limuki with more.
If you thought the current cost of living is unbearable, then brace yourself for tougher times ahead as the government insists that there will be no immediate intervention to alleviate millions of Kenyans from the yoke of the price of unga and other day-to-day commodities.
We want a long-term solution. We don't want a quick fix. Trying to subsidize consumption is foolish. It's not sustainable.
More than a month after taking over the reins of power on the promise to reduce the cost of living, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua now says that Kenyans will have to wait for their long-term interventions to work, which include produce from the subsidized fertilizer being distributed. This despite the current drought situation, which the weatherman says is not likely to come to an end soon.
As the Kenya Kwanza government, we remain committed to cultural reforms for increased productivity of all the sectors.
In the cabinet nominees vetting this morning, any hope Kenyans had on the end of their troubles was buried after the agriculture cabinet nominee Mithika Lituri said the only intervention would be a subsidy, which the government has stopped.
The price of unga, Mr. Speaker, I don't think will also come down immediately.
Insisting that have the option of embracing GMO foods.
We need to let our people die or adopting GMO.
They say the near-nil reprieve in the price of fuel did not help them in any way, saying that they want intervention and now.
Unga walikuwa wana expect itashuka chini kidogo. Unga haijashuka. Mafuta bado waliteremsha na shilingi moja, lakini wanasema bado mafuta ilishuka.
Kwa Kenya tunaumia, tuna struggle, kuweka chakula kwa meza imekuwa kazi ngumu jamani.
At the moment, a 2-kilogram packet of maize flour costs upwards of 200 shillings, which is out of reach of many Kenyans. Flora Limuki, TV47.
Now, Education Docket Cabinet nominee Ezekiel Machogu says he has the antidote to the challenges facing the education sector, including cartels in the ministry. Now, implementation of the new curriculum and ensure parents do not pay additional levies in schools. Here's Paul Muniu with more.
All matters in question.
Ezekiel Machogu, who lost the gubernatorial position in Kisii County in the just concluded general election and now seeking to be the next Education Cabinet Secretary, was fired with tough questions in his plan for Kenya's education sector.
Boy being placed in a girl's school, a girl being placed in a boy's school.
Another problem is also promotion of teachers.
I just want to ask you about the school feeding program.
Top of the list was the controversial CBC curriculum, as the panel sought answers on how Machogu plans to make the system more people-friendly. The CS nominee argued that he will be looking forward to the final report from the CBC task force appointed by the president to evaluate the strengths and challenges brought by the system so that he can make the decision to make it affordable to the parents.
Once they have been able to come with a clear recommendation, then ask government and Minister for Education, I will be able to get a roadmap.
The task force, chaired by Raphael Munavu, is tasked to collect opinions from the general public in 6 months before giving the final report to the president.
Education, according to Article 53(1)(b), is supposed to be free and compulsory, basic, that is primary and secondary. I'm sure they will be able to come up with such that it is made manageable, because Kenyans, with the COVID and the economy the way it is as of now, parents might not be able to afford certain things.
The Parliamentary Vetting Committee was also interested to know how Machogu will resolve university disputes, including debts, strikes and leadership rows.
A number of our public universities, including premier institutions like the University of Nairobi, are financially they're on their deathbed. Moi University is almost collapsing. Egerton University is in ICU.
The issue of Egerton University specifically, that university is in a sorry state. The lecturers have been on strike now for I don't know how many years, since 20 whatever, and they have been on half pay since the middle of 2020.
If approved, Machogu will be taking over the docket at a critical time of overseeing 3 national examinations and 2 transitions to junior secondary and Form 1. Paul Muniu, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka now says President William Ruto is slowly but surely engaging the dictatorial gear if the recent happenings in government are anything to go by. Now, according to Kalonzo, who spoke after meeting Secretary Generals from Azimio la Umoja One Kenya affiliate party, it beats logic for the president to make key policy decisions without a functioning cabinet.
We are deeply concerned about the trajectory the regime is taking. We are constrained to ask, in the absence of a cabinet, who is making these decisions and coming up with the fundamental proposals that President Ruto is declaring? Is the outgoing cabinet making fundamental and binding decisions for the incoming cabinet? Are the members of proposed cabinet that is being vetted already making decisions before they are sworn in and are able to take the oath of office? Is President Ruto acting alone? Who is making these fundamental policy decisions? Who prepared the report leading to the ongoing purge of the DCI? Who decided that we can manufacture fertilizers jointly with a neighboring country or to build dams on a PPP basis? Ruto appears to be shifting fundamental decision-making from the government to himself and perhaps partially to his party. We fear that these events are early insight into the intentions of Kenya Kwanza leadership and administration and the future direction of the regime.
Now, lawyer Apollo Mboya now wants Uganda's military commander Muhoozi Kainerugaba charged with treason over his tweets in which were seen to be a threat to Kenya's territorial integrity. Now, in court papers seen by TV47, Mboya says Muhoozi violated Section 43 of the Penal Code, which provides for treasonable felony, and wants the court to certify the application as urgent in order that Muhoozi has a prima facie case to answer. Mboya says the move by his father, President Museveni, to promote him to full military status made matters worse as he conferred additional capabilities to General Muhoozi. The Inspector General of Police and Director of Public Prosecutions have been cited as the first and second respondents and are accused of failing to take action following Muhoozi's remarks. Moving on, following fears of a potential cholera outbreak in the country, Elgeyo Marakwet County has announced measures to prevent and control the spread of the disease, which has so far affected 8 people in the neighboring Uasin Gishu County. Now, as Elizabeth Atieno reports, the World Health Organization has called on people to get at least 1 dose of the cholera vaccine.
This is the situation in Iten town, Elgeyo Marakwet County. Residents here are living in absolute fear. Previously, businessmen from this town will travel to Eldoret to conduct their daily business transactions, but now they are forced to only use their phones as they avoid traveling to the neighboring county of Uasin Gishu, which is experiencing a cholera outbreak.
Tunapata kutangaziwa ya kwamba cholera imeingia Kenya. Imetokana somewhere na Kiambu, Nairobi, Murang'a, Kajiado, Nakuru na Uasin Gishu hapa kwetu. Tayari ishapokea cases of cholera.
The county government of Elgeyo Marakwet has now vowed to strengthen surveillance in its borders and improve sanitation in high-risk areas, which is in tandem with the Ministry of Health directives to control the spread.
Tuchihatari sana na ninaomba mheshimiwa governor tuweze kukaa na timu ya health ili tuweze kuweka mikakati pamoja na tuweze kufundisha watu wetu, lakini cha muhimu ni kujitayarisha in case itatupata kwa njia moja ama nyingine. Na kupatikana ni rahisi sana kwa kuwa hatukosi kwenda Eldoret. Na Eldoret imeonekana na ni highway kutoka Busia kwenda Nairobi.
Uasin Gishu is among 6 counties in Kenya that have recorded cholera cases. The first 2 cases were announced on Tuesday, the 18th of this month in Limuru, Kiambu County. So far, there are 61 confirmed cases and 13 hospitalizations in the country.
Since 2013, WHO, UNICEF, Medicines Sans Frontières, and the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies have jointly managed a global stockpile of cholera vaccines to help control epidemics. However, the current wave of outbreaks is putting unprecedented pressure on the stockpile. As a result, The 4 agencies have decided to suspend the 2-dose strategy in favor of a 1-dose strategy so that more people receive some protection from limited stocks.
Cholera is an acute diarrheal infection affecting both children and adults, caused when one consumes food or water contaminated with the bacteria Vibrio cholerae. Those infected tend to diarrhea, vomit, and experience a rapid heart rate, low blood pressure, and muscle cramps. Elizabeth Atieno, TV 47.
Now, businessman George Mwangi, the husband to Kiambu-based politician Gladys Chania, was hit by a blunt object before he died. An autopsy has revealed a post-mortem exercise conducted at Kenyatta University Funeral Home also revealed that Mwangi struggled to defend himself from the killers, as some of his fingers had serious fractures. Paul Kirobi with more.
As the probe over the death of businessman John Mwangi intensifies, autopsy now reveals that Mwangi was hit by a blunt object before he died. The post-mortem exercise conducted at Kenyatta University Funeral Home also revealed that Mwangi struggled to defend himself from the killers, as some of his hand fingers had serious fractures. The exercise that was conducted by Chief Government Pathologist Johansen Oduor also revealed that Mwangi, whose body was found dumped at Kieni Forest, was hit at the back several times.
Ni daktari ametuambia amegongwa kichwa mara kama 5 hivi na hii kidole yake. Nimeona mambo imeendelea mzuri kutoka kwa daktari DCI na nimepewa value permit ya kuzika Mwangi.
Mwangi aligongwa kutoka nyuma na chuma ama na kitu brand na amegongwa mara kadhaa.
Earlier, a row between Chania's children and Mwangi's family had erupted over who should be given access to the body for the burial. According to Jane Wambui, who is Mwangi's sister, the two parties later agreed to have representatives who will witness and sign removal of the body from the morgue. Already a burial permit has been issued to the family for a burial event whose dates will be announced later.
Sisi kama familia tutagojea uamuzi wa serikali, lakini tungesi serikali itupe justice kama familia. Sisi kwa wakati huu hatutaki kusema chochote.
This happened as politician Gladys Chania alongside Maurice Mbugua, a casual worker, continued to serve their 7 days in remand to allow investigators conclude the investigations into their alleged involvement in the murder of Mwangi, an engineer who was set to fly back to Rwanda, where he has been serving as a contractor. Some days after the death, police's search for answers led them to his wife, who was arrested after preliminary investigations showed that George was murdered in his matrimonial home in Mangu village before his body was ferried over 18 kilometers for dumping. Chania, who was married to Mwangi for 20 years, is suspected to have mooted the murder plan after she learned about her husband's alleged love affair with a secretary at a local school. Police say the politician identified Mwangi at the morgue days after she reported him missing at Mwea and Gachege police post in Gatundu North, respectively. The politician by the name Gladys Chania has unsuccessfully vied for the Kiambu women representative position in 2013 and 2017. Paul Kirobi, TV 47.
Now, Agriculture and Livestock Development Cabinet Secretary nominee Mithika Lituri was today on spot over his integrity following 35 cases facing him in court, although he maintains that they were fabricated by the outgoing DCI command due to his political stand. Further, the National Assembly Committee on Appointment put him to task over his academic integrity, following missing records from Indian University, which he told the committee he couldn't present them since he was barred from accessing his home.
Around 9 a.m., Cabinet nominee on Agriculture and Livestock Development appeared before the National Assembly Appointments Committee.
Franklin Mithika Lituri, do hereby swear to testify on all matters in question and tell this committee the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Linturi stating that he is suitable for the job, but members were of a different opinion, with Linturi's ghost from corridors of justice creeping in the vetting process, with members questioning his integrity despite the office of DPP dropping various cases against him. Linturi was in January 2021 accused of attempting to rape a woman in Nanyuki, but the alleged victim on October 3rd, 2022 opted to withdraw the case after reaching an out-of-court settlement with the former lawmaker.
You were arrested and charged with the offense of attempted rape on the 30th of January 2021. She goes ahead to say that the matter was eventually dropped. Okay? But the charge raised, those are her words, the charge raised serious issues on your integrity. Kindly comment, make a comment on the same. Thanks.
And say, I've litany of cases is an understatement. As I sit here, I have 35 cases in court as I am sitting here. 35. And these 35...
Of a civil nature or criminal nature?
They are civil, Mr. Speaker. I have no criminal case in any court in this country. And I'm saying the only criminal case that I had in court is a case between the Republic and I, where the complainant was buried.
The 1.2 billion worth Linturi didn't shy away from his mistakes, which he told the committee the 35 cases facing him were civil and not criminal. It was portrayed by the office of the former DCI boss George Kinoti, whom he says was out to taint his image due to political stunts, and the cases remains baseless until proven otherwise.
100 million without the consent of another shareholder or co-shareholder going by the name Kipchumba Ngetich, who was subsequently again fired from the company for refusing to play ball. Those are the words of Dr. Matiang'i. I'm just paraphrasing him. You may want to shed some light on this, even as you seek to be approved to occupy this very high office.
Speaker, the DCI himself decided that Mithika must be turned into a victim. It is just last week when the DCI officers came to my office and even brought me the cash bill and the money that they had recovered from the abductors, because immediately I was abducted and I was released after giving 200,000 shillings and they were asking for 1 million shillings. I reported the matter at Nanyuki DCI offices. The record is there, Mr. Speaker. And
further, the committee raised queries on his educational integrity following educational background gaps over failure to present some documentations, but he insists that he could not present some of his education credentials, including a degree acquired in India, following court orders that bar him from accessing his house where he said documents are stored.
Are in court?
Yes.
Is that the reason why you did not attach that disputed Indian degree?
That is not really, Mr. Speaker. It's also because the documents that I attached are the documents I'm able to access. One of the issues where it is...
That's exactly what I'm asking you. That you attached the Kenyan degree from the University of Nairobi because it has no issues.
It doesn't have issues.
The matter rests there. Answer other questions.
After DCI dropped various cases on Mithika Lituri, the ghost of the said cases haunted him hardly before the appointments committee. On whether this will determine his suitability is a matter of wait and see. Elizabeth Mutuko, TV47, Nairobi.
Now, just a few days after drama erupted at the Meru County Assembly after MCAs walked out on Governor Kawira Mwangaza, Majority Leader Evans Mawira has been summoned by the Directorate of Criminal Investigation for interrogation. However, Mawira says the DCI officers have not told him the reason as to why he had to appear before them. Cheptoboit reports.
Meru County Assembly Majority Leader, who doubles up as the member of the County Assembly for Mitungu Ward, Evans Mawira, has today appeared before the Meru DCI officers for interrogation. His summon comes days after 69 members of the County Assembly walked out on Governor Kawira Mwangaza while giving her speech in what was meant to be the third inaugural opening of the third County Assembly, which later escalated, forcing the police to intervene by use of tear gas. However, Mawira says he has not been told the reason for his summon by the officers.
Eti waliniita tujuane, eti tukunywe chai, eti kama marafiki, lakini kamuuliza mimi si rafiki yako sababu hatujaipatana na sikuwa na namba yako kwa simu yangu, useme unaniita kiurafiki.
Lakini kile kimetushangaza ni kwamba ndizi yeye anatuambia hakuna report wamepata. Hakuna mtu amewapatia report.
Speaking outside the DCI offices in company of other MCAs, Speaker Ababu has said the probe should involve the entire team and not only one individual.
Wakasema mimi nikiwa speaker niende huko ndani peke yangu, nikakataa. Nikasema hii sio maneno ya mtu mmoja. Hii ni maneno ya mbunge.
Kwa hivyo kama yeye ana claim that mimi ndiye nilipiga gari yake mawe, nataka atoe ushahidi, tupelekane kotini. Na pia sisi tunaenda kuandikisha statements zetu kama waheshimiwa wote ambao gari zao ziliumizwa.
The MCAs have accused Governor Kawira Mwangaza for not giving an ear to their demands. Governor Kawira, on the other hand, has accused the MCAs for asking for bribe in order to approve the county's cabinet.
Na hiyo kasumba ya ati governor wapatie nyinyi milioni 5 ndio mpitisha mawaziri, hiyo haiko na sitakubali.
The leaders now say that they shall convene a meeting with the Senator Mithika Lituri in order to find a solution to the already existing tussle. Cheptoboit, TV 47.
Now, elders from parts of the troubled Kerio Valley now say government's move to sideline them in finding solutions to cattle rustling and banditry is one of the reasons why the area won't see an end to the menace. Now, Isaac Famba caught up with some of the leaders who say they have the solution to the perennial problem that has cost so much to so many.
For decades now, rampant cattle rustling and deaths caused by bandits have been the order of the day for the people living along Kerio Valley in North Rift region. Previous intervention measures by both the national and county governments have proved futile, with politics and scarcity of natural resources said to be behind the deadly attacks. Elders from the region are decrying being neglected in finding solution to the crisis which they say have caused so much to so many, including life and livelihood.
Hii ni mambo ya kwenda kwa siku moja reja hii kidogo kidogo haitafaulu. Tunaenda siku moja, tunaenda mwaka moja tena kurudia. Na hakuna kitu tutasaidika. Ni kwamba serikali wakitolee kabisa, wazee wamejitolea, sisi tunaenda kulala msituni kufanya mambo ya mobile.
They say the government abrasive operation to flush out the bandits and rustlers and the effort to mop up illegal arms have borne no fruits, and it's high time they change tact and let elders take the charge.
Na upatie msponsi, mpatie pesa kutosha, hakika kila kitu. Mambo ya amani taisha, mambo ya mambo ya tohara ataisha, hakuna Kenya ambao wase atashinda. Kwa hivyo ninaomba ya kwamba kila serikali tuunge mkono wazee.
The change of tact is expected to promote the effort of bringing a solution to a problem that has affected the locals for decades, now having in mind many people have now been displaced from their homes.
Kidogo kidogo leo inarudia, inatoka, inarudia na itakiki namna hii.
More than 150 people have died in the last 1 year, hundreds of livestock stolen, and people displaced, the latest being the killing of 11 people, including 8 police officers, a local chief and 2 civilians in Turkana East 3 weeks ago. Isaac Famba, TV 47, West Pokot County.
And in sports, the Ministry of Sports Cabinet Secretary nominee Ababu earlier today sat in the National Assembly's Committee on Appointments, where he committed himself to work with everyone for the betterment of sports in the country as he targets to develop grassroots talent and channel the athletes into making the national teams, among other policies. Our sports reporter Dennis Otieno tells us more.
Ministry of Foreign Affairs Chief Administrative Secretary Ababu earlier today walked into the National Assembly's Committee on Appointments, set to answer questions over his suitability to take over as the new Sports Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
If approved, Ababu faces a packed in-tray, top among responsibilities being reinstating the state of normalcy in Kenyan football, swimming and badminton, which have been suspended by the respective international federations.
Our football activities are in limbo, having been suspended by the World Football Governing Federation, FIFA. The Badminton Federation is banned. The Swimming Federation is banned. So the whole arena of sports is in total chaos.
Ababu stated that he will prioritize football more by engaging the World Football Governing Body FIFA President Gianni Infantino on the best way to have the suspension imposed on Kenya lifted in his first day in office.
I'm determined to move with haste to start cleaning up this mess, starting, of course, with the FIFA ban. If you cleared me, if I was to be sworn into office, my first morning in office, I would be on the phone with Mr. Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, to resolve the ban on FKF and Harambee Stars.
Ababu, who served the Ministry of Sports between the year 2012 and 2013 and was part of the team that enacted the 2013 Sports Act, emphasized that in order to have successful national sports teams, talent needs to be sourced from the grassroots level.
We have to start right from the bottom. I do recall that in the early days when some of our teams were doing very well, Harambee Stars was doing very well, teams like Gor Mahia were winning continental tournaments, is a time when they had a stream of talent flowing in right from the grassroots.
With the focus being on the deplorable state of sports in the country and how to salvage the situation, Ababu vowed to oversee the completion of stadia construction in the country and adding more amenities to the stadia.
One of the things that we must do also is to revisit even the design of our stadia. And we must turn all our stadia must be turned into centers of excellence so that we have activities going on there continuously.
As part of celebrating the Kenyan sports personalities, Ababu stated that he intends to create avenues where the athletes can live off their achievements by fitting them.
I believe that we can do more in motivating